Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, Friday night, 8 o'clock. Uh, yeah, so anyway, first of all, let me just want to bring up something really I like to go through my normal stuff when I get ready to start my shows. I'm going to say again, please, I want everybody to be decent to each other, be kind. If you're not kind, I have my moderators that will boot you out of here. So, like I said, we're all adults, so please, I want everybody to act like an adult. And so hopefully we can be doing that. That would be really, really nice. Anyway, so remember to, if after, we're done talking here a little bit and you have a question, then please, all cap locks for question, as far as that goes, okay? So, got to tell you a little bit about, well, first of all, we're talking about the t-shirt, okay? This is one of the t-shirts that we have on here. This is the STD t-shirt, so it's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. And again, I'm going to show you the sleeve here. And all the t-shirts that we have over at PrepperNurse1.com are going to have this on the sleeve, okay? So this is the second of, I have 3 shirts right now that we have available. So anyway, just wanted to show you the shirt, and guess what I'm wearing tonight anyway. So first of all, before we get into the topic of today, a lot of chatter going on. Venezuela experiencing blackouts, okay? So I want to talk about that really, really quickly, and then we'll jump into the topic of the video. I know right now there's a lot going on down there, and the president down there is blaming the United States for the blackouts. I know schools were canceled and stuff like that. So that's interesting that they would have blackouts. Could that mean something? It's a very strong possibility, or it could just be another ploy, a game, as far as that goes. Would we be behind it? It would not shock me if we were behind the blackouts down in Venezuela at all. Wouldn't shock me at all. Okay, so let's get into the topic of our video, though, real quickly, okay? So with YouTube, if I put in my title medical marijuana, they would demonetize the video like that, and I would never get it back. So do you think that it's hard to wake up people in the Western world? That's actually a great question. Yes, I think it's very hard because so many people are asleep at the switch. As long as, like I said, again, a lot of people, as long as things don't affect them directly, they're never going to wake up. They would rather wear their rose-colored glasses, so I must be confused. Flip the switch. Well, like I said, flip the switch. What I mean by that is they're asleep at the switch. Like, they could wake up and realize all the nonsense that's going on in our world, but they would rather just have the rose-colored glasses on with the blinders looking straight forward. As long as it doesn't affect them and it doesn't upset the norm for them, they're never going to wake up. So that's the unfortunate part of that. So, but anyway, so we're going to talk about medical marijuana a little bit as an alternative method for helping different things. Now, I'm going to tell you what, I know for a fact that medical marijuana definitely relieves pain in cancer patients, okay? Absolutely does that. It also absolutely helps with seizures, and it helps with people with epilepsy, okay? Like I said, a buddy of mine has epileptic seizures quite a bit, and medical marijuana, and I'm not just talking around sitting around smoking pot all the time. I mean, they have the oils out there that you can use. I know that those also help with like joint pain, and there's a lot of really good things that are good with as far as marijuana goes. Now, back in the day when I was younger, I smoked it all the time. Okay, there's a big push now with the government, and because it's a moneymaker, honestly. Marijuana is a huge moneymaker. They're never, ever going to get rid of it. So that's why they start out with medical marijuana, legalizing that, and then they go from medical marijuana to, recreational use. I think our resources as far as, the police goes could be used for much better things. But again, we got to, there's always games going on. Okay. So one of the things that I find as far as just recreational use of marijuana. Now, and I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay. I can't speak for everybody because I know marijuana affects everybody differently. Okay. But for me personally, back in the day when I used to smoke, if I smoked at 8 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock in the morning, that was the end of my day. I just wanted to see how much higher I could get. I wanted to be burnt down, didn't want to have to think about nothing, and I just wanted to be, burnt is basically, the term. And I loved it. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely loved it. But for me, I wanted to do something with myself. So for me, I had to put it behind me. Okay. I absolutely had to put it behind me because what I wanted to accomplish, I needed a clear brain. Marijuana, in my opinion, does have a tendency to cloud your thoughts. Not, like I said, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody because it does affect people differently. I know people that can smoke and they're very productive at work and it helps calm them down and those type of stuff. What does the shirt say? The shirt says STD, which is, it stands for one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. So that's why we have step, thing, and day underneath it. So people can see the STD right away and then they know what it stands for underneath. Okay. But, there's a lot of really good medical treatments for marijuana. So marijuana can be taken, in a pill form. It can be taken with as an essential oil, or you can smoke it, obviously. Again, it's a personal preference. There's not anybody that I've ever seen in my lifetime that got stoned, went out and robbed a liquor store and shot the place up. They don't do it. When you're stoned, you're mellow, you're chill, and you just want to relax. So, that's, but, again, it's all about revenue. So Colorado, I guess, was like the experimental place where it was first legalized for recreational use and everything else. And so what happened was they see what was going on there and how much money was being made. In these other states, like New York, go, hey, wait a minute, we need to get in on that revenue stream. So that's exactly what they do. So, that's what it's, I hate the smell of pot burning sideways. Drew just said, I wonder how close the hash oil is to CBC oil. You know what, that I don't know. I actually don't know about what Washington State too, the Hatfield Preppers just said. So I got to show you guys, I've been out and about actually all day today. Heather had a visit to the college that she's going to. Now, I'm not going to say what college she's going to, but I'm going to have some tea out of my new mug that I picked up while we were at the college today. So, but I won't say what college she's going to. Okay, so anyway, had a really good visit. She got to speak with one of her professors today, which is like the head professor at the college for her department that she's going into. And so she's doing really well. So Drew Breeman says, choose between guns or pot, LOL. And it's funny that you say that because I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this, and it happens in Canada too. It happens also here in the United States. If you get your medical marijuana card, you are not allowed to own a firearm. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that's part of the ploy with that. So you say, I need medical marijuana because I have this, that, or the other thing. They say, oh, sure, we're going to give you your medical marijuana card. And so they give you the medical marijuana, but then you're never allowed to have a firearm. So, I mean, it's a choice, obviously. A lot of people are still going to smoke illegally. They're not going to all get it from dispensaries and stuff like that. But Ed, I use a little bit every day. It keeps my headaches away from a brain tumor surgery in my past. You know what? Like I said, there's no judgment on my part, guys. No judgment. Hey, Scott, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. I don't judge people for that, okay? I'm not judging people for smoking pot. Smoking pot is actually, in my opinion, personally, way better than alcohol. Because alcohol, people get drinking, and it affects, again, alcohol affects people differently. Now, me, I was always been a happy drunk. If I get drunk, I'm a happy drunk. Now, but if I'm drinking liquor now and somebody acts like an a-hole, it's a different story. But it's like I never go out and purposely look to fight anybody. But, and like I said, I haven't been in a fight since I was 27 years old. So, it's been a long, long time. But, marijuana, people don't get mean or angry and go beat somebody up if they're on marijuana. They chill, they relax. It's a de-stressor, okay? So I have nothing against marijuana. Alcohol, I think, is actually worse than marijuana, in my opinion. And it will be legal soon at the federal level, and they are waiting to exercise the tax. Oh, of course, they're going to tax it. they're going to tax the crap out of it. Yeah, prison guard Prepper 23 says, I like beer. I like a nice cold beer too. If it's summertime and it's hot and I've been outside and I'm working, there's nothing like a cold beer at the end of that, you know. So, but the thing is, again, with marijuana or alcohol, whatever you're going to have, in moderation, guys. I mean, anything can be abused to a point where it's not good. Okay, so as long as you continue to function, you continue to pay your bills, you continue to take care of business, who cares? That's my opinion as far as that goes. Now, again, Gangsta there just said, you know, she'd rather be around somebody that was smoking than somebody that was drinking. Exactly. Like I said, a lot of people get drinking and they get mean. They really get mean. They're looking to fight and they're not thinking rationally. And like I said, I don't care how stoned you get. You're basically going to sit in that chair and you're going to chill out, listen to the tunes, and just kind of enjoy yourself. And then you're going to go in the kitchen and you're going to get yourself something to eat, and everything is beautiful. So, but that's, you know, like I said, it's just, can you play Tom Petty or at least Bob Marley in the background while you're on this topic? Yeah, right. I could sing you a little Tom Petty. No, you don't want that. Trust me. And Bob Marley's awesome too, by the way. Now, for me, I'll tell you what, when I used to get high, a couple of bands that I really, so we should bring up this topic. When you're stoned, what music do you like to listen to? So for me, Pink Floyd, The Doors, Nirvana was another one. Those were really the ones for me that I really enjoyed listening to when I was high, because it's like with The Doors, it made a whole lot of sense when you were stoned. It does. Are you sure you gave it up? I did. I haven't done it in actually quite a while. But I did enjoy it. I will say that. I did enjoy it. So, no, being a nurse, you get randomly piss tested. So, you know, that could happen at any time. So I just, Jerry Garcia, Stephen Wolf. Okay, here we go. Now they're coming up. All you guys are admitting. Led Zeppelin. There you go. A lot of people admitting that they're potheads. No, guys, listen. Oh, Dr. Demento. Oh, my God. That brings back some freaking memories. Holy crap. You should check out the band. I manage Culture Shock US. But anyway, yeah, most people turn to alcohol, Stace just said, because it's a drug that, and the thing is, alcohol is legal and it's okay and whatever. You know, a lot of comments up here. Hendrix, there we go. Yep. Floyd, BTO, yes. How about ELO? A little ELO, guys. Nothing wrong with them either. But Jefferson Airplane, there you go. Marshall Tucker, Leonard Skinner, there we go. We're getting some good ones now. Rush, absolutely. Indica Vita, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. CCR, yep, CCR is awesome as well. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all about personal preference and taste, but different types of music really spoke to me when I was high. So that was, you know, back in the day. But, oh my God, Cheech and Chong, they were awesome. Good movies back in the day with those guys. But, yeah, but, you know, like I said, there is a lot of really positive things with marijuana. I mean, marijuana, you know, the stalks, everything can be used for paper. It replaces us tearing up our forest all the time. If we grew pot and it grows faster, you know. Mozart, there you go. Yeah, Cheap Trick. Dave's not here. Yeah, I know. I love that part. That's funny. So anyway, but yeah, there's so many positive things with marijuana, and they know it. AC/DC, there we go. Best song by AC/DC, in my personal opinion. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, because it's the only rock and roll song that I know of that has the bagpipes, and I absolutely love that. I think that is like the coolest thing. ZZ Top, Ted Nugent, there we go. But anyway, so, you know, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I'm sure that would be interesting. I was already past my smoking time when that was around, so. All right, guys, so back on topic here. It's so easy to get off topic with these live chats that it's fun. I don't care, you know, but so yeah, it's there's so many positive things with medical marijuana, and like I said, even if you just choose to smoke it, it's got so many medicinal purposes that it's really, you know, good in that aspect. Now, does it have a tendency to dumb people down? In my opinion, yes, but like I said, I'm basically basing it off how it affected me personally. So again, it's an individual choice. You know, a lot of people are smoking it, and I think within inside of 5 years, it'll probably be legal across the entire U.S., in my opinion, because it's just too much money to be made from it. In these other states, let's say 10 years, within inside of 10 years, marijuana will be legal across the U.S., in my opinion, because there's so much money to be made from it by taxing it, regulating it, and taxing it. And that's what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to do. Shirley just says a lot of people space out. Honorich says smoke weed every day. And that's, like I said, I don't cast no judgment on anybody. As long as you're going to work and taking care of your business, who cares if you smoke? You know what I mean? It don't hurt anything. It really doesn't. Like I said, it's like there's not been a whole lot of people out there getting stoned and then going and taking an axe and chopping somebody up, you know? Let's focus on crystal meth, heroin, which the government controls that completely. So that's never going to go away. You know, cocaine, those type of things that are truly destroying people, you know. And, you know, you look what crystal meth is doing to people. I mean, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And, well, and let's not forget from our wonderful pharmaceutical companies, all the narcotics and the fentanyl patches and, you know, all your painkillers. How about that? I got drug tested yesterday, Kevin said. Oh, there you go. Heroin invented by the Germans during the war. Well, talk on meds and these people think it's a concert. It's my own fault. It's my own fault. I know you're saying that, Jimmy, but I did ask what bands you guys like to listen to when you're stoned. So that is my fault. So I take full responsibility for that one. But yeah, so like I said, there's other things that need to be focused on as far as the addiction part of, you know, that's really truly harming. The narcotic epidemic in our country with opioids is absolutely horrible, you know. Thank you, Judy. Yes, and it's my video. This is true. So, but I do kind of try to want to stay on point a little bit because I think it's an important topic and one that needs to be discussed. And I definitely want to hear you guys, your thoughts on it. You know what I mean? As far as, you know, what do you think as far as, you know, recreational marijuana use and also medical marijuana use? I mean, there is a lot of positive things that can help people, you know, as far as that goes. And like I said, you got CBC oil. You know, there's a lot of positive things, The government admitted to losing the war on drugs. Yeah, surely, yeah. They're never going to win that war. And like I said, we have a whole young generation now that's dying because of the opioid addiction, which was directly brought on by pharmaceutical companies and the doctors who push that out there like candy to people to, you know, supposedly help them. Alternative, I missed that one. I never tried any of that stuff. Old man just said that. Well, you know, I grew up, you know, like I said, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s. Actually, the first time I got high with a couple of the neighbor guys. I was 9 years old. So, I mean, and then in my defense, I didn't smoke again until I was 16. Smoked a couple times then, didn't like the way it affected me at that point. You know, and then after I got out of the service, then I smoked a little bit then, and I kind of liked it then. So, retired on disability, actually very funny. The feds actually buy my weed. Oh, that's cool, Kevin. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, my goodness. Greetings from Brazil. Hey, Brazil, how you doing tonight? That's a freaking waves down there in the southern hemisphere. I bet your weather's nice down there. Meth ingredients are in just about every household in America. Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to make it, to be honest with you. It's really easy to make it, to be honest, and it's very sad because, like I said, it's destroying people. It's absolutely destroying people. Our country was based on hemp and tobacco in the beginning. Yeah, I know they had it a lot, and then they made it look like, you know, marijuana was bad, but you had prohibition because supposedly alcohol was so horrible all the time. And you know, again, like with anything else, it's anything in moderation. And I'm not talking use meth in moderation or coke in moderation or heroin in moderation. I'm not talking about that. But like, alcohol and smoking pot in moderation. I mean, do your work during the day, take care of your business, come home, and if you want to smoke up a little bit, or if you want to, they actually say that smoking marijuana too helps with cancer. So it helps to fight, combats cancer. So I probably wish I had continued smoking it, because then I probably wouldn't have gotten cancer. But, what are you going to do? MV, don't do drugs. Well, like I said, it's individual choice, and there's a lot of people doing it. Oh, Parkinson's, there's another one. Yes, the Hatfield Peppers just said about Parkinson's. Marijuana definitely helps with Parkinson's as well. Yes, it does. Do you think mandatory evacuation will become the law in the U.S.? Survival Prepping 101 just said that. I hope not. It's all about control, guys. I think certain vaccinations are important to have your kids vaccinated with certain things. But the timing of the vaccinations and the age of the child for the vaccinations and the amount of vaccinations that they're giving our kids all in one shot. When I was little, we didn't have 8 million different things that they're giving our kids like they are now. So I think that it's definitely a detriment, all that stuff all at once like they're doing now. I think with the different things, if they spread it out, I think certain vaccinations are going to definitely be good. But do the research and see what kind of crap are in these vaccinations, okay? There's a lot of stuff that I really don't want, and again, I'm going to tell you right now, if I had to do it all over again, all right, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would not have vaccinated my kids. I'll be honest with you. So drugs will never change unless we secure the borders. Even if we secure the borders, it's not going to change a thing, honestly. Joe, to your statement, you're never going to stop drugs, especially when the government has a big hand in bringing them in here. You got to understand something. If we can keep the people drugged up, not paying attention, keep them dumbed down, keep them drunk, keep them wasted out of their minds, taking fentanyl and pills and everything else so that they don't have to think about their problems and dealing with reality, that's when they're in control. So basically, anybody who's really truly anti-government, other than, like I said, if you have a medical issue and you need to have the marijuana for that, I'm go for it, okay? But it's about control. All of it, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, it's about control. They are controlling you. They get people on these ADHD meds. They get people on, antidepressants. You never get off antidepressants. You might have to change it from this one to that one because you're depressed. Life is hard. Guess what? Life sucks sometimes. It really, truly does. And I think we all need help at points, but it shouldn't be a lifelong thing for all this. And again, it's all about control. It's absolutely all about control. And we're playing right into their hands. Zoloft was the worst. Drewman just said that. Yep. Yeah. I mean, all that type of stuff. And think about this as a man, okay? When men take antidepressants, guess what doesn't work anymore? Any of you ladies that are married to a man that's on antidepressants, you know what doesn't work anymore, okay? And talk about killing a man's ego. That, that's part of who men are, is being able to function as a man. So they're already depressed, life sucks, and now they're on this antidepressant, which is affecting the other parts of their life. So it's really terrible. I really like your beard. Hey, thank you very much, Greg. I appreciate that. Yeah, I actually started growing the beard out October 1st. So I don't know how long I'm going to keep it going. Once the weather gets warm, it'll probably be gone, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. This is actually the longest that I've ever had my beard ever. This is the longest that I've ever had it. So we'll see what happens. Seizure since you're 15. Docs gave them didn't work. Yeah, heroin epidemic, compliments of the CIA. You are absolutely right. Yeah, so, and like I said, like, antidepressants are horrible. The best thing you can do is get off of them because, like I said, I mean, I hate to use the term suck it up, but, it's life can be hard at times. We have to deal with it. If you're taking a pill not to deal with reality, you're never fixing what that original problem was in the first place. So until you deal with problem A while you're on this pill over here, B, you're never going to focus on that because the pain is masked. The problem is masked. So, that's not a good thing. I mean, we have to be able to deal with stuff. We really do. Well, let's see. Again, guys, any questions, all cap locks, please. In Cali, adults are going to be forced to vaccinate. If not, they will lose their license. Wow. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, like I said, it's people will not get off the meth. Yeah, and you know what? You can usually tell when somebody's on meth because their teeth are broken off and they're rotted, and it's just a terrible, terrible thing what it does to you, and the way it ages people. I mean, they've showed pictures of people over like a 10-year period on meth, and some really decent looking girls and gentlemen, and they just looked haggard by the end of 10 years because of that. It's terrible. Let's see. Ex-CIA head Bush Sr. Yeah, well, again, exactly. Bush Sr. He was the head of the CIA, so you don't think he was involved in all that? All of that stuff that's going on there. I mean, Afghanistan, guys, is about basically, we could care less about the people. I mean, let's be honest, okay? We could care less about the people. The Taliban in Afghanistan was destroying the poppy fields. Now, some people are going to say, well, it's only $200 million a year business. But you got to understand, again, it's about control. It's all about control. And that's what they want to do. They want to control people. So when you have the government involved in that, and we're over there protecting those freaking poppy fields, and it's killing all kinds of our young people here in the United States, and the government is allowing it to happen. So it's a terrible, terrible thing. Let's see. Well, like I said, the vaccines, Agenda 21, population control. What did, oh God, I'm trying to think here. Richest man in America, head of Microsoft, Bill Gates, went blank for a second. He said we can control the population through vaccination. It's something that he actually said. So what do you think that's all about? You know what I mean? You ever heard of a growth toothache planet? Does it does no. I have no idea. I've never heard of that. Do I think that marijuana will help people get off heroin? Hard to say. Hard to say. It's a scary thing, to be honest with you. Heroin is so addictive. I know that they have, obviously, what they do is they have Suboxone. So they get them off of heroin and they get them on Suboxone, which is just another form of heroin. So that desire to have that, and honestly, I'm going to tell you what, when I decided in my life to make a change, and I did at 27 years old, I said, I didn't like where I was going. I didn't like what I was doing. Didn't like what I was involved in at that time. I decided to make a change, and I moved out of state. And I went down south, and I lived in North Carolina for a year. And I got away from all the people that I was hanging around with and all the things that I was doing, okay? And and people say, well, why did you move away? Well, because when I went down south, and somebody said, hey, Ed, you want to get high? And I said, no, I don't do it. And they go, oh, okay. But if I did that here, they would be like, well, wait a minute, man, you got high yesterday. Why don't you want to get high today? So I didn't have, and peer pressure is a real thing, guys. It really is. But I didn't have that down there. And so when I got away and I got away from it, and then when I came back up here to New York, I could hang out with those guys again. I just was like, yeah, man, I'm done with it. I've been done with it for a while. So it's here. Any kind of thing that you're alcohol, drugs, you don't need to go to rehab. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You have to, in your mind, not want to do it anymore. So until a person says, I am done, I am not doing it, they're never going to get cured. You can send them to rehab 8 times. Look how many times people go to rehab. And they get out and they go right back to doing the same thing, So Zoloft promoted my prostate cancer. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's no fun either. Dealing with prostate cancer is no fun. So I feel your pain. I really do. That's not a fun thing. Yeah, Drewman just said, I quit smoking cold turkey. Again, another addiction, another form of control, cigarettes. And in New York State now, you buy a pack of cigarettes, it's like, I think it's $10 a pack now here, which is insane. I'm going to tell you what, I was 16 years old when I quit smoking cigarettes. And there was two factors why I decided to quit smoking. I started smoking at 12. By the time I was 16, I was up to 2 packs a day at 16. So the two factors were, everybody was always bugging or bumming, wanting to bum a cigarette all the time. Yo, man, let me have a cigarette. Let me have a cigarette. And I used to be like, no, man, go get your own pack. And then they would get all bent out of shape. The second factor was they raised the price of a pack of cigarettes. I was like, I am not paying this price. I'm not doing it. They raised it from 75 cents a pack to $1 a pack. And I'm like, not doing it. And I quit cold turkey like that, and I've never smoked again. Just not was, but that's the thing is, you, in your mind, have to get to that point where you say, what is enough loss? And the thing is, if you have children, you need to look at your children. Do you want to have your children growing up seeing you wasted out of your mind all the time, and that's how they're going to remember you? I wouldn't want that. Drug addicts will die in SHTF trying to get their fix. You are absolutely 100% correct, Joe. You are right. They will absolutely die. Because that craving is there. They want it, and they don't care, and they're going to take unnecessary risks to get what they want. And I'm talking the pills, the morphine, the fentanyl patches, all those type of things. So, that's they're going to do what they feel like they have to do, and people are going to put them down. New York City, it's 14 in New York City. George, that doesn't surprise me. Everything costs more in New York City. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. It's insane the cost of cigarettes. When I see somebody walk in and order 2 packs of cigarettes and they're paying, $20, and I'm like, for what? It doesn't even get you high. It's insane. It really, truly is insane. And, but again, it's like they get you hooked up. Rolling Stones, there you go. Yep. Going back to our thing from the beginning. But loose squares on the street for $1 in Chicago. Wow. $68 a carton here. Well, I know that like they have on the Indian reservations, you can go onto the reservations and you can get cigarettes a lot cheaper. It's still expensive, but not anywhere near, what it is normally. So, but I'm going back to it. Like now everything's locked up for cigarettes, and, different places don't even sell them anymore. Like I think Wegmans stopped selling cigarettes altogether. And, yeah, $28 on the reservation in New York. Okay. Thank you, Truth Freezy. I had no idea what it would be anymore. So, but, yeah, will help many. Yeah, you're right. From withdrawal, tobacco after SHTF, having that on hand. But tobacco doesn't last long, and it ends up tasting bad after a while. So, that's what you got to think about too. And I would rather put my money in other forms of prepping. I think that it's better spent elsewhere, and that's just my opinion. And I don't smoke, so I have when it comes to somebody that's smoking cigarettes, I don't really have a whole lot of empathy for that. Now, I will say both of my ex-wives smoked. My first wife passed away, but my second wife, she's still ex-wife, I should say. She still smokes. So just grow your tobacco. Yeah, well, you can do that too. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, and part of the thing for me too, when I decided to quit, I could feel what it was doing to me, and I didn't like that feeling. So that was one of the reasons why I quit. And it's funny, this is way before all the warning labels about how bad tobacco was for you and everything else, Started at 12, 40 cents a pack. Yeah, well, like I said, I started at 12 too. I mean, we were, my grandparents both smoked, and what we would do is we would, go and steal their cigarettes or cigars, and that, that's how we started out, and then you just went and you bought them. Everybody could buy them. They had cigarette machines. So you just go in there, put your money in a cigarette machine, and they would just kind of turn a blind eye, and you'd get your cigarettes. It was easy. I mean, it was easy. Cheryl M says, I smoke Juul now. And Cheryl, I'm going to tell you what. I have a lot of trepidations about the smokeless stuff and, and all that. You're bringing that into your lungs still, and there's something negative about that. And down the road, we're going to find out that that's really more harmful. Vaping. Yeah. You know, I think that you're going to find that that's more harmful down the road. That's just my opinion. Anything you're taking into your lungs. So, do you recommend buying fish marks now and store it? I'm not going to tell you, Shirley, to go out and buy fish marks. Will I, which I have bought fish marks and store it? Yes, I will. You have to make your own individual choice if you want to do that or not. If it's me, I'm already doing it, and I will add to that, you know, my stockpile of fish marks. So for me personally, yes, I would get fish marks. What you decide to do is absolutely your own choice. My grandma died of that. Yeah, I mean, it's like my grandfather had emphysema, and he still smoked. I hear e-cigarettes give you popcorn lung. I've heard that too, Dharma. I've absolutely heard that as well. And you know, so like I said, anything you're taking in like that is doing damage. Your lungs don't want that. So you're definitely doing. Fish mox, Tina, is a fish antibiotic that is the same exact thing that you can get from the doctor as far as an antibiotic that you would get from the doctor, but they just say on there for fish use only. But it can be used by humans, and people have used it, and it's absolutely the same exact thing. If you put the same pills you got from a prescription for amoxicillin and what you can get for fish mox, they're the same exact thing. So tobacco and alcohol will be great barter items. I think tobacco would be more so than alcohol. What is your second choice to set up at the homestead? As far as what I'm like, okay, Dean, we'll talk about that a little bit here. My game plan this year, and we already got the plywood for the chicken coop. Okay, as soon as this weather breaks here in New York, which is going to start getting better now, but as soon as this weather breaks, a couple projects that I'm going to get done this year, no matter what. This is my game plan, and I've got this in my head, and this is what is. These two things, to me, are the most important things right now. Chicken coop is going to get done this year, and I will have chickens this year. The second thing that is going to get done is the solar rack is going to get redone. The old rack is going to come out, and we're going to get that all set up. Those two things, if I don't do anything else this year, and I get those two things done, I'm going to call it a successful year. Now, I have other plans of other things that I want to get done this year. I would love to get a functioning greenhouse done this year, but I'm not just going to slap together something and call it a greenhouse. If I'm going to do a greenhouse, it's going to be geothermal, and I want to do an aquaponics system in that greenhouse. So that's definitely, you know, on the game plan for this year. And like I said, if I can get more things done, I am absolutely going to do that. And so I think this year is going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to see some really good projects happening here. And like I said, I can't wait to share them with you guys and get experimenting, especially in the greenhouse and working on growing different things and see how it does. And, you know, that way you guys can learn from me. If I make a mistake, then I can say this didn't work or this would work. Ed, what will go into the greenhouse? To be honest with you guys, depending on the time of year, like I said, you have your cold weather stuff that you can actually grow in the winter as long as I can regulate the temperature. And with a geothermal system, I can. And it will keep the greenhouse at about 58 degrees. So there's definitely cold weather stuff like your kale and those type of things are definitely going to grow in a colder stuff. So I'm going to rotate things. And like I said, I definitely want to do an aquaponics system. I think that would be really, really cool. And so I do have a lot of plans. And the greenhouse project alone is not going to be cheap, and I know that. But it's going to be well worth it. And when I do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to use the term, I'm going to say it one time, I'm not going to do it half-assed, okay? So with my solar racks that I have right now, we kind of put them together because that worked for the time being. And, you know, I've actually hurt myself as far as production for my solar because of the first 6 panels, the way that they're set up. So with being able to have a mounted system that I can rotate up and down is going to make the system so much better. So I'm really looking forward to doing all these projects this year. And I'm like, I've been chomping at the bit for the weather to change, not just to work on projects, but I cannot wait to get on my Harley and ride. Anybody that rides will understand what I'm saying because, You know, that's what it's about. I mean, it's a freedom. That's my drug, if you will. It's you know, like that. Oh, Philip, building a forge. That's cool. Very, very cool. Pennsylvania located. Shoot me an email then, Philip. Absolutely, send me an email. Uh, if you had to relocate from New York, where would you go? Two places that I actually, if I was going to leave New York, the two places that I would look at going would be South Carolina in the mountains or Tennessee. Those are two places, high elevation, like the areas. The higher elevation that you are, you're still going to get to change your seasons, but winters wouldn't be anything like they are here. Yeah, JJ, cabin fever. You are absolutely correct. It is. This time of year, I'm like just so ready. I want to get out. I want to get going and you know, get things going. You know, and it's like when we get an early spring, like, you know, when it's coming up now, it's awesome. I mean, because the bugs aren't out yet, everything's not grown up yet. So, you know, there's a lot of cool things that we can get done, and then, you know, we just keep working on things. Away from coastal areas is a good idea. You are absolutely correct. You couldn't give me something on the coast, you know. His mom drowned in her own lung fluid. It's horrible. Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, guys. You know, with the cigarettes and the alcohol abuse, when somebody gets cirrhosis of the liver, okay, now being a nurse for as long as I have, I've dealt with a lot of different stuff. And when somebody does something to themselves, I have, and it's terrible, it's just the way that I am, I have very little empathy for people that did something to themselves, okay? When you have something happens beyond their control, like if they had a stroke or cancer or something to that effect, or they got Parkinson's or, you know, CP or whatever, okay, that's not in their control. You know, so I got a lot of empathy for people like that. But when it came to cigarette related or alcohol related, I've never had a lot of empathy because it's something they could have done something about and chose not to. And so that kind of makes me a little callous in that aspect. But just from everything that I've seen in my career and the different things that I've seen, and, you know, and then it's a lot of people, you know, that do things to themselves, then they want you to feel sorry for them. And I can't. It's just not in my DNA, I guess. Have you seen the predictions of two major earthquakes in the next 2 weeks? I have seen those predictions. You know, anybody that's saying that this is going to happen in this time frame, I don't put a lot of credence in that. Will there eventually be an earthquake that's going to hit? Absolutely. It's just a matter of time. I mean, earthquakes happen all the time. Will we eventually here in the United States have a major earthquake? Through the center of the country there, the Meridian Fault Line. I think it's the new Meridian Fault Line. That whole thing there, that could go at any time. Okay, you know, along the West Coast, you know, that's all earthquake area. We have faults coming up through here through New York, so we could get it too. You know. Yeah, prepare for it, but don't go by the timeline. Philip just said that. That's great advice. You try to prepare for everything you can, guys, because we never know what's going to happen. So, and I talk about that all the time, you know. So, you know, those are things that you really want to, you just try to get as ready as you can for whatever's going to happen. And then when it happens, you have to act, not react. While I'm thinking about it, I want to mention again, you know, at the website, we have the Prepperness One community. So if you are looking to connect with like-minded people, either to form a group, or we have a lot of message boards on there, you know, just even to talk to people in your own state or your own country, to connect with like-minded people, which is absolutely awesome to do. You know, we have that. You just go to my website, preppernurse1.com, click on the Prepperness One community, you register, very, very private. So somebody from outside can't see what's going on in there unless they're registered. And it's a great way to connect with like-minded people. And it's really been growing exponentially. It's really, really doing well. And it's totally free. So it's no cost to you guys at all. We set that up for you guys. So it's another great way, because I had so many people saying to me, how do I meet like-minded people? How can I connect into a group? And it's a great way to do that if you're interested. And again, that's all on you. I mean, it's like any kind of connections you make with anybody, that's all on you through there. We have the singles group, we have the disabled group, we have the seniors group, so there's a lot of different groups that you can join in there individually as well. So if you're interested, go check it out. Anyone else learning to forage and how to use it for off-grid meds and food? That's an interesting question. Let's see. Fracking should be illegal. I agree with you 100%. That's not doing anything good for the earth. It's contaminating groundwater. It's not a healthy thing for the planet at all. Not at all. Learn about wild edibles and medicinals. And yes, I do that. You know what? Great comment. Great advice. I've talked about that quite a bit. Get your books, guys. Get your wild edibles. Know what you can eat in nature. A lot of plants out there that you can eat that are going to be very, very good for you. And know what medicinal plants are out there that can help you with a headache, with whatever. Because after SHTF happens, going to the drugstore is not happening anymore. So knowing in nature, and everything's right there in nature. Where do you think that they get it all from? You know what I mean? 40% of the U.S. population lives within 50 miles of the coastlines. I think it's actually higher than that, three basket living. I think it's higher than that, to be honest with you, but a large proportion of the people are on the coastlines. And if they're, like over in Africa, there's that shelf that's getting ready to fall off, and it's got a huge crevice in it. Eventually, when that does fall off, and that's on some huge island that they have out there, when that falls off and goes into the ocean, it's going to cause a tsunami that is going to hit the East Coast. Absolutely going to happen. And I would not want to be on the East Coast and have a 100-foot wall of water coming at me, and what are you going to do? So, very, very, that's a scary, scary situation. Yeah, so being on the coast is not where you're going to want to be. There's going to be way too much panic, especially when and if whatever event happens, it will eventually happen, okay? Being in that congested area with a lot of people, it is not a good idea. Not a good idea. The island is called Las Palmas. Okay, yeah, so Carol just put that up there. And that is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. It's a matter of time, and that is going to happen. Thanks for the tip on the fish mocks. I ordered from Tractor Supply, and they will deliver it to your closest store free pickup. Yeah, that's you know what? And basically, what I did is I went down to my local Tractor Supply, and they didn't have any there. And he got on his little computer, and he said, "This store has this many. This store has that many." And I just the next day, I think it was, I went down to the other store and I picked up what they had. So. Prepare for natural disasters, but listen not to the timelines. Instead, stay ready at all times. Philip, great comment. Very, very, very good comment. There's always going to be predictions. People are always going to say, this is going to happen now, that's going to happen now, this is coming, that's coming. You become desensitized to it. And I think a lot of that information is put out there for misinformation, to distract people, to lull people back to sleep, if you will. Eventually, a disaster will happen. And again, here's the thing, guys. An SHTF event, and I've talked about this as well, could be something that affects your family directly, okay? It could be loss of a job, somebody, the main breadwinner, passing away. It could be, a major medical event that now that person can't work, okay? So there's always going to be those things. And those things happen all the time to people across this country and across the world all the time, okay? So prepping for whatever, and that's what I'm a big proponent of. You prepare for the worst and hope for the best. It doesn't have to be the major, huge whodunit earthquake that affects everybody, or, nuclear war, or some kind of pandemic that's going to hit, or, the collapse of the dollar. It could be something that affects you directly and nobody else but you and your family. It could be something that happens that affects you locally, be it a flood, be it a fire, be it a tornado, a hurricane, something that that will happen. So that's why we should all prep. Everybody should prep, at least minimal 2-week supply of food and water. FEMA says that. The Red Cross says that. You know, and there's been upgrades on that where they, I think it was FEMA that said, you know, you should have 6 months worth of food available in case something happens. So that's why we prep. Exactly, Ronnie. That is exactly why we prep. I'm going to tell you what, I've been through periods where loss of a job happened, and I lived on my preps for a while, you know, and you do what you have to do. Government says 6 months. Yeah, Joe, that's, yeah. Yep. And their FEMA report, yep, at least 6 months. So if they're telling you that, I would say have a year. that would be my thought process on that. But like I said, again, it doesn't have to be a major event that affects everybody. SHTF can be something, again, that affects you and your family directly. A good example is, let's say, you know, you're a mom and dad and you got a couple of kids. One of your kids gets cancer, okay, and it's bad. Let's say you got this child's got this cancer and it's bad, and there's maybe a 30% chance that this child is going to live. First of all, psychologically, that's going to screw with you huge, okay? And you're going to be in that hospital all the time. You're going to spend as much time with that child as you possibly can because you don't know when that last day is going to be. And so, you know, those are things that happen, guys. Those are things that happen all the time. You know what I mean? So think about those things and, you know, and plan accordingly. You know, like I said, SHTF doesn't have to be statewide. It doesn't have to be countywide. It doesn't have to be, you know, countrywide or worldwide. SHTF can just affect you and your family. So, you know, and hopefully you have good people around you that can help. There's a lot of good people in the community when things happen. I'm going to give you an example of something, okay? And I'm going to use myself and my situation for this example. And somebody made this comment one time. If a child has cancer, everybody's going to rally around and they're going to try to help out and they're going to do the best that they can do and stuff like that. Now, my kids are gone, so they're at their mom's for the weekend. So, and they don't really watch the videos. So I'm going to put that out there ahead of time. So they're not hearing this and they probably won't watch the video. My son has autism. When you have a child with autism, people pull away. They don't know how to deal with it. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't want to deal with it. So they separate themselves away from you. And that happens a lot. Family, friends, it's just, it is what it is. And I'm not saying it looking for sympathy or looking for pity because, you know, I've raised my son and he's a good kid and, you know, he has his issues, but overall he's not a bad kid. So again, I've never treated my son any different than I've treated my daughter or my stepson. So they're all treated the same. They all have rules and stuff like that. But, you know, Eddie was more difficult and he was harder to deal with. But you know what? That's okay. But that's what happens when you have a child that has autism. People will back away and they will be gone. So, you know, that, you know, anyway, so just wanted to put that out there so you can kind of understand. We need to get your mom on the live show. When she comes back up for the summer, when she comes up to stay, I will definitely have her sit down with me. Probably on a Sunday, I'll have Mom sit down with a live chat one night. That will be fun. I would be curious. I'll try to keep her off the beer that night. I'm just kidding, guys. My mom's not that big of a drinker, but she does like to have a cold beer. Autism is on the spectrum. Many folks have it. You're right, Robert. A lot of folks do have it. And the variety of autism can be from the kid that has to wear a helmet that bangs his head against the wall that's nonverbal to your Asperger kids that are absolutely freaking brilliant. So the autism spectrum is like huge. There's just so many, you know, things with that, really a lot. Adam, a flooring installer, please explain the danger of living and breathing effects of black mold. The last 4 houses I've worked on have a massive amount of it. Yeah, black mold is a bad thing. Black mold, if that gets in your lungs, it can definitely affect you. Okay, over the summer when I had all the wood chips, okay, and I had the piles of wood chips and they were putting, you know, the cloud, the smoke was coming out of there. And when we were spreading that around, I breathed in some of that and those mold spores got into my lungs. And it affected me for like a couple of weeks. I was definitely feeling the effects of that for a couple of weeks until it ran its course and it was done. But if you're in a place that has black mold, it definitely is, it can kill you. It really can. So, definitely something that you want to watch those type of things and make sure you don't have it in your house. Do you recommend powdered lime or Mr. Pebble like lime? I like powdered lime. I use powdered lime myself. It's great stuff to have. So yeah, it's great to have on hand, and it cuts down on your smell, and in those type of things. You can use it in your garden. It's really, really good. And yeah, like a 50-pound sack, Blue Feather just said, you're looking at like $7 or $8, guys. So it's not like out of the park expensive. And let's say you have an outhouse that you're having to use an outhouse in post SHTF event. You got a 50-pound bag of lime in the outhouse. So you do your business. You take a little scoop of that lime and you pour it over your business. You're good to go. It's not going to smell. You're not going to, and even in the heat of summer, it won't smell. And it helps break down the stool and everything like that, and really turns it into a good fertilizer. I controlled and got rid of black mold with lactulose bacteria. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but it worked. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. I'm glad that worked for you. Has anyone looked into an EMP shed? That's you can build those yourself. They're really a good thing to have, and so it's definitely a smart thing to have. If you can have a EMP hardened area and have different supplies in there that you don't even think about, just keep them sealed up and put away. What's up, Lucy? One of the cats just came in. The rest of them are sleeping. I got Max up here sleeping, and there's Luce just got on the bed. All right, let's see. Penicillin comes from mold. Yeah, that's how they discovered it. Absolutely, that's how they discovered it. But it works, so that's a good thing too. Yeah, Blue Feather says $8. Eagle Lifter, you're awesome. Even though you're a Dallas fan, fly Eagles fly. Oh, come on now. Oh, Eagles Lifer, thank you for the donation. Yeah, that's a rivalry there, my friend. And congratulations a couple years ago on you guys winning the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you what, I love a good rivalry. I love to talk smack. But, if a team does good and does well, then I give my props to them. I love a good competitive team. I like a good competitive game. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So, as long as we put that good effort out there, I enjoy that. But yeah, I've been diehard Cowboy since I was 9 years old. So we prep for our 5 kids and 17 grandchildren and 1 great-granddaughter. Oh, that's very cool. The Hatfield preppers just said that. Yeah, and that's what you want, and I'm going to tell you what, down the road when my daughter has her children, I will, I don't think Eddie ever will, to be honest with you, because of the autism. But I will prep for them as well, absolutely. Has anyone looked into an EMP shed? I guess not. That's what he just said. Well, like I said, it's having an EMP hardened area, if you can, great idea. I haven't seen the sheds. I haven't seen anything like that. I don't know what they would cost. But, you could make something for that would be very helpful. Hello, Miss Socks. What are you doing? Yeah. All right. Oh, JJ Big Steelers. No. Can't do Steelers. That's a big rivalry back in the 70s for the Cowboys. Is EMP Shed a product name? That I have no idea. All right, let's see. Black mold can't move. All you do is try to treat it and keep it to the minimum exposure. But when it gets inside everything, there's no way to get rid of it. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that information. Oh, he asked it, what if you have black mold and you can't move? Well, you better move. Darn. Yeah, I did not realize that was a question. You have to leave. If there's black mold, you have to leave, because that will kill you long term. Absolutely. And your health and your life is more than worth anything else. What year is your bike? Sorry to go off topic. Oh, that's all right. Working Man's Dad 44. I have a 2015 Heritage Softail. I bought it brand new. It had 10 miles on it when I bought it, and 5 was my test ride. I am the type of person, when I buy something, that I will have it forever. So if you come back here 10 years from now and you say to me, Ed, do you still have your Softail? I'm going to say, yep, I sure do. So I absolutely love riding. And it is just, for me, it's a distressor. If I've had a bad day or things are stressing, I just hop on that bike and I go and ride, and it just, everything is gone. And it is absolutely awesome. And I love it, you know. And I'm going to tell you what, you don't have to have a Harley to be cool, guys. If you are on 2 wheels and it works for you, I give all the respect to anybody that does. Riding is a brotherhood. It really, truly is. Motorcycles are an investment long term. Yeah, absolutely they are. And it can be really, really useful in SHTF too. All right, let's see. My Harley boots are ready. There you go. Yeah, but I love my Harley. I absolutely do. I had a, what did I have before that? I had, oh my God, I'm going blank on the bike that I had before that. Suzuki Boulevard. Was an 805 is what I had before, and I liked the bike, and it was a decent bike, but I knew I had to upgrade because I had to have more power. So but I liked that one too. It was good, but I did sell that and upgraded. So, well, I traded it in when I bought my Harley. I traded that bike in. All right, well, guys, here we're getting to the end of this already. I can't believe it. Yeah, early motorcycles were a game changer in World War I. Oh, I believe that, absolutely. I'm getting ready to close out the show, guys. I like to always end all my shows the same way. Remember, we are all in this together. That's really important to remember. I think a lot of people lose sight of that. So really stay positive with that, and try to help each other and work together as much as you can. Remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. And the other thing, like I said, STD, here we are, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to do, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from getting there, guys, is yourself. Nobody else can stop you, okay? Stay focused. Don't listen to negativity. All negative people want to do is bring you down to their level because they're miserable. The best revenge you can have, guys, against anybody in life is to live well. Think about that, okay? I'm going to leave you on that note. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.